You are watching Mathematics Simplified. My name is Joseph Jacob. Today is the third and the last of the simple equation series. We are going to consider the most difficult of simple equations. But don't bother. Even though they are difficult, we are going to explain our operations in the simplest of ways so that you'll understand everything we are going to solve. Remember, as we usually do, from time to time we'll give you one or two problems to solve. So, pick your pen and paper. Let's start solving the hardest yet simplified forms of simple equation. Look at this problem facing us. 7x plus 3 equal to 4 bracket open 2x minus 4 bracket close. Don't be troubled by the presence of brackets. In our previous videos, we've not solved any question as complicated as this, but it is not too much for you to understand. It's almost the same thing we've been solving, except for the bracket that is introduced in this question. So the first thing we need to do is going by BODMAS. I hope you know what BODMAS is. If you've watched our video on mathematical terms, you must have come across BODMAS. So the B stands for bracket. So we'll first deal with the bracket. So our next line of operation will be to deal with the bracket. While we do so, we'll write down 7x comes down plus 3, as the question is, equal to remove this bracket, all we need to do is to use this 4 outside the bracket to multiply everything inside the bracket. Once we've multiplied everything inside this bracket with the 4, the bracket will disappear. So how do we go about that? 4 times 2x will give you 8x. You bring down the minus sign. 4 times 4 will give you 16. The bracket is gone, isn't it? And you will now notice that the equation has now come to the ones we used to solve in the past. So at this point, all we need to do is to collect the like terms. In collecting the like terms, we have 7x, and that x we have here is 8x. Remember, there is no sign in front of this 8. It means it's a positive number, it's a plus number. So we move it across this equality sign, it becomes minus 8x. We bring our equality sign. Remember, we already have minus 16 in this side of the equation. The next thing we need to do is to move this plus 3 over to the right hand side. And in doing so, you will take note of the plus before the 3, which means it's a positive number. When this plus crosses this equality sign, it becomes minus 3. Now, having done this, when 7x minus 8x, you'll notice that the smaller number is now minusing a bigger number. So the answer will be in negative. you have minus x equal to minus 16 minus 3. You have both of them are negative numbers. So you are bringing negative numbers together. So you now have minus 19. Now, there is a negative sign on the left-hand side. There is also a negative sign on the right-hand side. You can simply eliminate the negative signs on both sides by dividing both sides with minus 1. What you are trying to do is to cancel out this negative sign so that you only be left with x equal to 19. Next time, when you have negative signs on both sides, you may not need to go this process of dividing both sides with minus 1. You can simply cancel out the negative sides when you now have x equal to 19. Is it very difficult? I know it's not. Let's solve another problem that has brackets. It will help you to understand it better. Now let's look at this problem. 7 bracket open 3x minus 4 bracket closes equal to 3x minus 14. The first thing we need to do is to open the bracket. And for us to open the bracket, we just need to multiply everything in this bracket with 7. Once we've done that, the bracket will disappear. So we do 7 times 3x will give us 21x. We bring down our minus sign. 7 times 4 will give us 28. The bracket is gone. Equal to, we bring down 3x minus 14. At this stage, all we need to do is to collect the like terms together. Those that have x and those that do not have x. So 21x, this 3x will cross over. Remember, this 3x has no negative sign before it. It means it's a positive number. But when this positive number crosses this equality sign to the left-hand side, it becomes a negative number. So we now have minus 3x. You bring down the equality sign, write down the number already on the right-hand side, minus 14. Now, minus 28 will cross this equality sign and it becomes plus 28. Now, the next thing we need to do is to minus 21x minus 3x will give us 18x. Now, this minus 14 plus 28 can be confusing sometimes. But let me take my time to explain it in a way you will understand it. The number with minus, let's call it the amount of money you are owing someone. Let's call it $14. Because it's minus, you are owing someone $14. And let's call this one with plus 28. $28, it's the money that someone is owing you and the person is ready to pay you. Now, when you receive $28 from someone who is already owing you, and from this $28, you now pay the person you are owing $14, how much will be left? I know you will agree with me that it will be $14. Good. Now the question is, will this 14 have a minus or a plus? That is where I want to explain very well. If we go by the first illustration I gave, a minus is what you are owing, a plus is what someone is owing you that the person has paid you. So if you are paid $28 and out of the $28 you pay someone $14, you'll be left with $14 of your own money not money you are owing someone. So it will not have a negative sign. So at this point, what we'll have is 18x equal to 14. I hope you understood how I come about this 14. Let me explain again. Minus 14 plus 28. Let's take the number with minus as the money we are owing someone that needs to leave our pocket to that person's pocket. And let's take plus 28 as the number as the money someone is owing us, which the person is going to pay into our own pocket. Now, when someone pays in $28 into your pocket, out of that $28 that is paid into your pocket, you pay someone else $14. You will be left with $14 that is your own money. So it will not have a minus sign because it's not a money you are owing someone. So we have 18x equal to 14. Now, we need to divide both sides with the coefficient of x. And that coefficient is 18. When 18 cancels out 18, we are left with x equal to 14 over 18. What can we do further in this problem? We can reduce both numbers. How? By looking for a number that can divide 14, I beg your pardon, and 18 as well. So that number will be 2. So x will now equal to 2 into 14 will give us 7 over 2 into 18 will give us 9. So the lowest answer we can get is now x equal to 7 over 9. Very interesting, isn't it? Our next problem has something very interesting. Instead of having one bracket, we now have two brackets. 15 bracket open 2x minus 3 bracket close equal to 5 bracket open 3x plus 5 bracket close. There is no big deal about it. All we need to do is to get rid of the brackets first. And to do so, we need to multiply everything inside the bracket with the number outside of the bracket. So 2x minus 3 inside the bracket of the left hand side of the equation, we just need to multiply it with 15. And in the right hand side, we need to use 5 to multiply 3x plus 5. That's all we need to do. And when we do that, we get rid of the bracket. Let's do it. 15x times 2x will give us 30x. 15 times 3 will give us 45. We bring down our negative sign. Equal to 5 times 3x will give us 15x. We bring down the positive sign. 5 times 5 will give us 25. At this point, it's becoming something familiar to us, isn't it? All we need to do now is to collect the like terms. So 30x, another like term here is 15x. But for the fact that the 15 is the first number after the equality sign, there is no need to add the positive sign. So since it's not a negative number, automatically we know it's a positive number. So when this positive number crosses the equality sign, it becomes a negative number. It becomes minus 15x equal to. Now we have 25. We don't need to write the positive number before it, the positive sign, I beg your pardon, before it again, because it's just the first number after the equality sign. There's no need for that unless it's a negative number. If it's a minus here, we must place the minus. But since it's not a minus, writing 25 is right. Now the next thing we need to do is to move the 45 to the right hand side. Remember, it has a negative sign. So when it crosses the equality sign, it becomes a positive number. So it becomes plus 45. Now, all we need to do is to add where necessary and subtract where we need to do so. Now, in this case, we need to say 30x minus 15x will give us 15x. We write down our equality sign. 25 plus 45, 5 plus 5 will give us 10, 0 carry 1, 2 plus 4, 6 plus 1, 7. So it will give us 70. So what we need to do now is simply to divide both sides with the coefficient of x. and the coefficient of x here is 15. So we do 15x over 15, 70 over 15, where 15 cancels out 15, leaving us with x. If we look at the right hand side, we need to look for the number that can divide 70 and also divide 15 as well. If we go for 5, we can achieve that. 5 divides 15 will give us 3. 5 divides 7 will give us 1, remainder 2. 5 divide 20 will give us 4. So we are left with 14 over 3. We can reduce this further. In doing so, it becomes a mixed fraction. How do we get a mixed fraction? Now let's do it together. 3 divide 14 will give you 4. That 4 it will give becomes a whole number. When 3 divides 14, it will go 4, remainder 2. That 2 it remains becomes the numerator over this 3 that you have been using to divide it becomes the denominator. So you have 4 whole number 2 over 3 as your final answer. Don't let this confuse you. When we get to when we start solving fractions, I will explain them better in a way you'll understand how to get mixed fraction and how to convert mixed fraction to fractions. We have another interesting problem here. 16 minus 3x equal to 9, bracket open, 7 minus x, bracket close. So the first thing we need to do is to bring down this side of the equation. 16 minus 3x equal to, the next thing we need to do is to open up the brackets so that we now say 7 times 9 will give us 63. 7 times 9 will give us, or 9 times 7 will give us 63. We bring down the minus sign. 9 times x will give us 9x. By doing this, we've gotten rid of the bracket. The next thing we need to do is to collect the like terms. And in collecting like terms here, we have minus 3x already here. All we need to do is to bring over the 9x to the left hand side, and in doing that you'll notice that the 9x is a negative number, so it becomes positive because it crosses the equality sign to become plus 9x equal to, we have 63 already on the right hand side, so we need to move 16 over. Notice that there is no sign in the front of the 16, which means it's a positive number, so in crossing the equality sign it becomes a negative 16. Now remember our illustration with minus and plus. Someone paid me $9, and out of the $9, I have to remove $3, which I'm paying someone else. I'll be left with $6. So it will not have a negative number because the money I have is more than the money I'm paying out. So you have 6x equal to 63 minus 16. 63 minus 16 will give you 47. Yes, 3 minus 6 cannot go. You take 1 from 6, add it to 3, it becomes 13. 13 minus 6 will give you 7. Remember, you've taken 1 out of the 6, you now have 5. 5 minus 1 is 4. So we are left with 6x equal to 47. At this point, it's quite simple. Divide both sides with the coefficient of x, which is 6. 6 cancels out 6. You have x. Now, 6 divide 47. Remember that 6 into 47 will give you 7. It will have whole number 7. Out of that 7, you now have 5 left. So you have 5 as a numerator all over this 6 you've used to divide it to give you 7 whole number, 5 over 6 as the final answer. Now this problem is for you. 5 bracket open 6 minus 3x bracket close plus 3 equal to 17x. Pause the video, give it a try, and resume the video. Let's do it together. How did it go? I hope it was not too difficult. Well, let's do it together. Remember, our first assignment is always to remove the brackets. And to do that, we use the number outside the bracket to multiply everything in the bracket. Now, you can't use this number plus 3 to multiply everything in this bracket. Do you know why? You will notice that there is a plus sign between the number and the bracket. But the ones we use to multiply the bracket, there are no sign plus or minus. So it means that the number is multiplying everything in the bracket. So we can't use these to multiply, but we'll use these to multiply. Remember that this plus 3 is not in the bracket. So when you are using 5 to multiply everything in the bracket, be careful not to also multiply 3 because 3 is outside the bracket. So let's go. 5 times 6 will give us 30 minus 5 times 3 will give us 15x. We bring down our plus 3 equal to 17x. Now that we've gotten rid of the bracket, we can now add or collect like terms. I beg your pardon. We can now collect like terms. In collecting the like terms, we have minus 15x. 17x has no minus, so it's a plus. But when it crosses this equality sign, it becomes minus 17x. Every number without x is already on the left hand side, so we are moving all of them to the right. Let's start with 30. 30 has no negative sign, so it's a positive number, but when it crosses the equality sign, it becomes minus 30. Another number is 3. 3 is already a positive number. When it crosses this equality sign, it becomes minus 3. So going by minus being a money we are owing someone, it means we are owing two people $15 and $17 respectively. So because of this money we are owing, we'll add both of them. 17 plus 15 will give us 32x. It must go with minus because both of them are monies we are owing someone else. So they are going to leave our pocket. So we need to put minus to their total. Now, in the right hand side, we have the same thing. We owe Mr. A $30. We owe Mr. B $3. So both of them, we are owing them $33. Now, you see we have this minus on both sides. So we can simply cancel both of them out to have 32x equal to 33. In this case now, we can only use the coefficient of x, which is 32, to divide both sides. And in doing so, 32 cancels out 32. We now have x equal to 32 divide 33 will give us one whole number. When 32 divides 33, it will remain 1. So that 1 becomes the numerator up and all over the 32 we use for the division. 32. This is the final answer. I hope it is what you got. Well done. This is where the curtain falls on today's video and on simple equations. From our next video, we'll focus on another mathematical problem called simultaneous equation. Until then, I wish you all the best. Bye-bye and have a nice day.